I like that. Greetings, Wanderer. This is Atlas here, and welcome to the Void. Today I'm going to be reacting and breaking down a song called Counterattack from the XENOBLADE Chronicles 2 original soundtrack. This is the last coffee personal request that I have, or that I had pending for the month of May. And this comes from Mother Goose. And the comment says, the song is titled Counterattack from XENOBLADE Chronicles 2. This song makes its appearance when the protagonists are at a great disadvantage against the main antagonist of the story. But when all hope seems lost, the protagonist turns things around and launch a counterattack. This is an extremely popular track from the series, and I think most that have and haven't even played the game can vouch. Gets your blood going. Extra, this track even made an appearance in the Smash Brothers Ultimate as a DLC. Alright, so there we have it. Thank you very much for your request, Mother Goose, and of course your incredible support. We actually have, in this case, a little bit of a background about where this song is played, which seems to be, from the looks of it, seems to be like a very crucial moment in the video game. I think I've covered a couple of tracks from this franchise before, from XENOBLADE Chronicles, so I'm gonna leave them in this card right here in case you want to check them out. However, I think I haven't covered any track from the second game, so this is going to be a first time. Other than the background that Mother Goose gave me, I have absolutely no idea what this is about, okay? So, I am looking forward to it. Onward. Okay, so we have Counterattack from XENOBLADE Chronicles 2. Boom. Beautiful intro with the lead guitar, very tamed. That was a nice change. It went from the highest energy point to the lowest so far. And it's starting to build it again. That transition was beautiful. I like that. I think that there we have it. Yeah, that was the end of the song. All right. This track indeed feels like a counterattack for sure. So let's break it down. Okay, so I want to begin this breakdown by basically telling you that maybe I'm just going to approach this breakdown in more of a chronological sort of way in terms of how the song progresses and so on and so forth. But the main thing that I would like to point out is that this particular song certainly, like I did mention previously, I think, certainly has, an element of hope and conflict and struggle, okay? Mother Goose did say that it takes place when the protagonist is at a great disadvantage against the main antagonist of the story. But when all hope seems lost, the protagonist turns things around and launch a counterattack. So I think that the composer was able to translate that very well into the song. One of the reasons is because, well, maybe I would like to mention this first, that is not necessarily related to that, but it sounds like this track from the beginning is transitions from another track. It's a little bit obvious to me because you can hear like a fade in from other instruments that were playing a part that is not really related to this particular song. So it seems like it is that way, and it makes sense based on what Mother Goose said, which is basically, there's like a breaking point in a part of a game. So this particular track, the counterattack track, comes in when this breaking point comes in, which is, of course, the protagonist of the story, gathering the strength to counterattack the evil forces that are in the video game. So, why is this particular track so hopeful, but at the same time conserves a little bit of the struggle and conflict that is around what's going on? Well, the thing is that the hopefulness of it comes from certain scales and certain major modes, I would say. I don't know how many modes are used in this because I'm not very well versed in music theory and so on and so forth. But anything that sounds hopeful, that sounds happy, that sounds like very beautiful and lush in the sense of happiness and creates this positive feeling in you when you hear it, it's usually something that is written in a major key, or it has a lot of major modes or something, major chords, major chord progressions and so on and so forth. So major always, to me at least, equals to those sort of things, well, the sadness and all these things and melancholy are actually beautiful to me too. But these very hopeful, happy sounds are more associated with positive feelings, of being happy, being hopeful, and so on and so forth. And that is very much contained in major chords, in major modes, and major keys, and anything that is major in essence. Now, there is a certain degree of conflict or struggle that we hear in the track, but I want to leave that for another part of the video, where I'm going to be talking more specifically about that special part in the song that transmits that, because for the most part the song is giving you that sense of hope and this sense of the battle carries on, but now it's you that have the not necessarily the control of it, but certainly just find yourself in a better position that brings a light at the end of the tunnel, let's say. So very important elements in the song is the electric guitar leads, which provide this very rock bite to it, although I will say that for the most part the song is a progressive rock song, but the composer could have just composed the song with a couple of riffs and not have like a lead guitar at all, but he decided to add the electric guitar leads to add that layer of that bite that distorted guitars have, which is very abrasive and very dominant. Not dominant in the sense of music theory, but very dominant in the sense that you feel that the sound of the instrument is like grasping you or getting you by the hand and giving you like a pull, it's pulling you over the song. And there's like a counterpart to that, which is the string section that we hear as a layer 2 on the song, which is the layer that we hear, or the instrument section that we hear that plays the leitmotif of the song, which is also in a major mode, I would say, that is very hopeful and transmits all these positive feelings. It might transition into some minor sections in between to create some degree of tension, but I would say that for the most part, if my memory serves me well, it is mostly written in major modes. The leitmotif and all these melodies that you hear are certainly in the major realm, let's say. Now let's talk about the very specific part where I believe it's where the track is at its peak in energy, and also where the part that creates the most tension in the track, which is this part. I'm gonna put it right here. So as you can hear in this part, we have like this very much riff-centered rock riff, and this is probably like a contrast in between what we heard before, which is this more relaxed sound, because you hear the leitmotif played in the strings. The strings have this very sweet, more relaxed, more easygoing to a certain extent sound to it, which is a very much the counterpart of an electric guitar. Even though at the previous part we were listening to an electric guitar, but we were not hearing the electric guitar as the main spotlight of that section. The main spotlight was in the string section, playing the leitmotif and so on and so forth. But in this part, this is like a complete counterattack, let's say, to to that previous part, when we were hearing the leitmotif. And this particular part is the part that creates the sense of struggle, that creates the sense of conflict. And why is this part is so important to me? That it is actually present in the song. It is because remember that this is like a counterattack doesn't mean that it's like a victory automatically. There is a play. This is a place where the protagonist of the story finds himself in a better situation to fight the main antagonist, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to win the battle. So you need to portray that some way into the song. And I think that this particular section of the song, which is very rock oriented, very heavy, it's the heaviest part of the song with this very mean riff, is what actually communicates the struggle and the conflict that it's still within this fight, because it's not a victory. You hear the hopefulness and the sense of the light at the end of the tunnel in the previous part, but this part is saying like, hey, there's light at the end of the tunnel, but remember that you haven't won the battle yet. So after that, speaking of the chronological parts of the song, we hear that the song actually transitions into a way more tamed part of the song, which of course it's like the release of the tension. The tension was very much built by the riff, by the very heavy riff, but now you need to release that tension. So that's when what the next part of the song accomplishes. It's very much tamed. You only hear like a piano, the percussion, the drums. And then after a little while it comes the electric guitar to start building the energy again of the track, and then it transitions again into I believe the leitmotif of the song. Then after the second part that we hear, the main section of the song, we hear the part where I believe it's the part that is the most tamed of it all, the part when that it has the lowest energy of it all. In the previous part, in the very heavy riff part, if you tamed the song a little bit of amount, it will make a really big difference, even if you tamed it a little bit, because that's like the highest point of the in energy and tension of the song. But in this particular part, when that transition comes into the lowest section in terms of energy that the song has, you don't have a previous part that is in the highest amount of energy. So to make the difference, or for the listener to be able to notice a very distinct difference in between the energy that the previous section has with this one, the difference of energy would have to be even more evident. So the composer went for an even lower energy part in this section to be able to make the contrast or have the difference in between this particular part and this particular part. Also, the lowest energy part of this song is what introduces you into the guitar solo. And solos, for the most part, it doesn't have to be like the guitar, but any kind of solo. If you're going to have a violin solo or whatever solo, in the song, a drum solo, whatever it may be. It's an instrument that is taking the whole spotlight of the whole track. So, in a sense, it actually makes another contrast to what we hear before. Even though we hear like there's a previous build-up towards that part, certainly a guitar solo in this particular case is like a complete contrast to what I will arguably say is the lowest, the most tamed, lowest energy part of the song. And to finalize my comment, I would say that the song doesn't have a resolution. And that, I think that is very much connected to the sense of conflict and a struggle that is within the song in a certain very specific part of it. And it replicates at the end of the song with the ending, because I don't believe the song has an ending, but having an ending doesn't mean that it has a resolution. Because of course you want to leave the song open to what comes next. Because like I said before, that sense of struggle and conflict that is given by the part that is very heavy, it has this heavy riff, is very much that, like, the most rock and roll part of it. It's giving you that sense, like it's not a victory, there's still a battle ahead. And therefore that's why I think the song doesn't have a resolution, because the way it ends, it doesn't really have any sort of pattern or fade out even, or any slurring particular note that ends and gives you this sense of closure. No, it ends like in a higher register note, and it's repeated like in a rhythmic pattern. So that to me, that's why it doesn't have like a resolution. So of course it makes sense, because this is not the victory of the character, this is not the victory of like within this particular track is not a victory. There's something that has to communicate after this particular track, because of course this particular track is called Counterattack. It's not called victory over the villain or whatever it may be. It's a part of the video game where you need to communicate that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, but at the same time there's a battle to be won still. So that's where the conflict and the struggle is described in the very rock and roll part. And at the end of the song, it repeats and takes that premise again, and leaves you with the sense of, this is about to be, the to be continued a part of the story. So I think I'm gonna give this track a very, very high silver badge, because I think that my favorite part was definitely the most rock and roll, let's say, part of it, which is the part that to me balances the song the most, because we hear that it has a lot of lush, beautiful, major things going on, major modes going on that sounds very beautiful and gives you this sense of hope. But at the same time, it's like the song is about a counterattack, so there's a battle to be won, and therefore you need something, an element to balance it and give you the sense that you certainly have hope, and you're still in the fight, but you haven't won the battle, you haven't won the war, you're still going. So that specific arrangement in the song, to me, is what makes the song complete, I would say. So yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like and share it with your friend. Also, please don't forget to visit my Ko-fi profile in case you want to make a one-time contribution, or my Ko-fi store in case you want to make you want to request one of these personal requests. Also visit my Patreon, where you can sway the influence towards what I'm going to be breaking down next, and also my Teespring shop, where you can get merch and all that jazz. And of course, ex nihilo nihil fit.